Hello again. It is Alexis, your BCBA bestie. No, I'm just kidding. It is Alexis though. And today we will be talking very briefly about empiricism. Why is that? Because I see non-empiricism a lot, especially in a school setting, which if you watch my previous videos, you will know that that is currently where I am employed. I moved from the clinic setting to the school setting because I was getting burnt out in a clinic setting, and it has invigorated me in different ways. But with that being said, I do not work with a bunch of behavior analysts and RBTs. I work with a bunch of teachers, speech pathologists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, administrators, paraprofessionals, all of these things. So if you can imagine it, we are not using empirical language all the time. Okay, so what do we mean by by using empirical language and using empiricism? Us as BCBAs, we say that it is that objectiveness, that those observable things that we can actually see and take data on. When I'm in a school setting, when I'm talking to teachers, they'll be trying to describe a behavior and they're just like, oh, he's just throwing things and he's just tearing up the classroom and all of these things are happening, and they make it sound like very, very, very bad. And as a behavior analyst, I'm like, okay, but how many times did he throw things? How many times? What did he throw? What he tore up the classroom, but like, what does that mean? So empiricism is that objectivity, not us being subjective. So what I usually hear is today, like I'll say for today, one of my teachers told me that our scholar is very impulsive. It's because of his ADHD. He's very impulsive, and I'm just like, I'm a BCBA. I'm not in the classroom every day, every second. So it's important for us to come up with these definitions for these observable behaviors, for us to really delve in and say like, but what does that look like? But what does that mean? Like, you're telling me he's impulsive, and what you're calling impulsive, I might not call that as being impulsive. So what does that mean? And she was just kind of like, well, he's just all over the place. And again, I'm like, well, that doesn't really tell me anything. Like, does he walk around a lot? Are we running all over the place? Are we by scholars a lot when we shouldn't be? Like, what does that mean? And she finally was able to tell me, like, well, he just does things. He does things that he knows he's not supposed to do. So we're starting to dig deeper into what she means by that. But she was saying, like, he walks around a lot when he's not supposed to, being disruptive in the classroom, disrupting the classroom by walking around a lot, or he just says things. So now I'm getting into it. So he just says things. He blurts out things. He's not thinking. He just says things. So I'm like, so I was able to say, you're saying impulsive, but at this point we've dwindled it down to like impulsive. Yes, to a teacher, she can say what impulsive and impulsivity is. But as a behavior analyst, we have to dig deep down and say, but what does impulsivity look like for this client? And based off of what she said, I can go in and name like, okay, well, we have classroom disruption is our behavior, which includes non-contextual vocal outbursts toward the teacher or toward the student, just to give an example. But that is how we push, and if you're in a clinic setting, you have to push parents the same way as well. Because parents, they'll say, if you're asking them, what do you want your kid to be able to do when they transition from services here? Their first thing is, oh, I just want him to go into school. Well, wonderful. But what skills do you want him to have? Because that's, what you're talking about going into school is going to be different from what I think it means to go into school. For me, it means like you need to be able to communicate, have a decent communication system. You need to be somewhat toilet trained. You need to be able to sit in your seat. But sometimes parents are like, well, I want him to know his numbers and his name and his colors and all of these things. And that is what they want them to know before they get into school. So again, as behavior analysts, we have to make sure that we are always pushing for that empirical language. We are always aiming to be very objective, and if you cannot take data on it, then you're not being empirical. And if somebody isn't being empirical, push them and ask those questions of, okay, but what do you mean by this? And digging deeper than just taking what the surface level is. So that is my quick little rant on empiricism. I don't know what task list item that is, but like, comment, and subscribe. The next video posted will be a wonderful video about inappropriate sexual behaviors with one of my BCBA colleagues, so that will be fun. I love talking about ISB. I got a lot of experience specifically with teenage populations. I am not the BCBA that went the early intervention route. I specifically went to teenagers as my focal point, as my target population. So I do have a lot of experience with teenage behavior such as that, and cursing and fighting and all of those things. So that will be the next video. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you later.